For this video in the Pharmaceutics video series, we will be showing you how to prepare a metronidazole suspension. The first thing you are going to want to do is gather all of your materials. You will need glycerin, methyl cellulose 1500, a 2-ounce amber bottle, a black Sharpie, weighing papers, metronidazole tablets, 2 glass mortar and pestles, 2 graduated cylinders, metal spatulas, a rubber spatula, and glass stirring rods, cherry syrup, and an electronic balance. Make sure to calibrate the balance before you begin using it. Step 2 involves cleaning all of your glassware and your workstation. You may use rubbing alcohol to clean your workstation. Step 3 is calibrating your prescription bottle. Since the prescription calls for a final suspension volume of 60 milliliters, you will fill a graduated cylinder with 60 milliliters of DI water. You will then pour the water into your amber bottle, and finally, you will mark the water line using a black Sharpie. This is where your final suspension volume should come up to. For step 4, you are going to hydrate the methyl cellulose. Start by weighing out the appropriate amount of methyl cellulose. Make sure you zero your balance with the weighing paper. Add the methyl cellulose to the glass mortar. Begin triturating the methyl cellulose in the glass mortar using the glass pestle. You may use the rubber spatula to help gather all of the drug. Never use a metal spatula in direct contact with a glass mortar or pestle. You are now going to add a few drops of glycerin to begin levigating the methyl cellulose. It's a good idea to start conservatively with the amount of glycerin you add because you can't take it out once it's already put in. You can always add more glycerin if you need it. Again, use the rubber spatula to help gather as much of the methyl cellulose as you can. You may use the metal spatula to help get all of the methyl cellulose off of the rubber spatula and into the mortar. You are now going to hydrate the methyl cellulose. Measure 30 milliliters of DI water, which is half of the prescription volume. You are going to add the water to the methyl cellulose in geometric amounts. With geometric mixing, you always add the larger volume to the smaller volume. You begin by adding an amount of water equal to the amount of methyl cellulose that's in the mortar. Make sure this is thoroughly mixed before you add the next volume aliquot. With geometric mixing, every volume aliquot you add should be equal to the amount that's already in the mortar. Continue to do this until all of the water has been added. The final preparation should have a glossy appearance. You are going to let this sit for 15 minutes while you prepare the drug. For step 5, you are going to prepare the metronidazole. Begin by obtaining the weight of 1 metronidazole tablet. This will allow you to determine how many tablets you need to crush in order to get the full amount of drug required by the prescription. Crush the tablets using the mortar and pestle. Try to grind the tablets rather than smash them. If you use too much force, bringing the pestle down onto the mortar, you may accidentally crack the mortar. Once you have finished crushing the tablets, you may weigh the appropriate amount of drug required for the prescription. Dispose of any unused drug into the appropriate drug disposal container. You are now going to levigate the metronidazole using glycerin. Again, start conservatively and add more glycerin as needed. The final preparation should appear white and shiny. For step 6, you are going to prepare the metronidazole suspension. You are going to geometrically add the metronidazole vehicle suspension into your drug preparation. Once finished, you are going to add the suspension into the conical graduated cylinder. Step 7 involves rinsing out the suspension with cherry syrup. You are going to add a total of 30 milliliters of cherry syrup to the final suspension. Add 10 to 15 milliliter increments of cherry syrup to the mortar and try and rinse out all of the suspension that you can get. QS the final suspension volume with the cherry syrup to 60 milliliters. Add your suspension to the amber bottle. Make sure your final volume lines up with the calibration mark. Once you let the bubbles settle, your final suspension should appear uniform and should feel smooth and not gritty.